Sergeant Felty, Mr. Durden.
Mr. Durden, how are you today, sir?
I'm all right, sir.
When you consider a neighborhood, is there something that you're looking for in that neighborhood that would pique your interest?
Yes, sir, there are. There are several things approaching a neighborhood from a criminal perspective that you look for, key things. First and foremost, I look for settled homes because people whom are of a socioeconomic status should be able to afford a particular type of home usually have disposable income. Meaning from my perspective that they have jewelry or ready cash that's available to be taken. Middle class homes get hit less in burglaries just because of that. For me anyway, from my perspective. In a neighborhood, I'm looking for well-kept homes, yards with really nice fences. Because if you can afford a $10,000 fence to go around your home, and I'm sure the inside of your home is very nice too. The things that'll keep me from going into your home like that are easily displayed. A lot of alarm systems these days, they have availability of being wireless. The reason they do that is because it's easy for an individual to walk to the outside of a person's home and pull the wires out from the box that goes to the alarm system that's wired into the telephone system, cut those wires. If you cut the wires, even if you do trigger the alarm system, it's not going to send a message to the company, so you don't have to worry about it. But with a cellular system, that's not the case. With a cellular system, you have to, it's a lot more inclusive, and it's hard to get the things that you need to defeat the system. It's really hard to find anybody selling a cell phone signal blocker. So, the threat of just have someone having wireless will make me step away from their home.
Let me ask you this. Sure. People often ask us, well, what about dogs? If I have a big dog that barks, is that a deterrent?
Sometimes it can be, especially if they're extremely aggressive. But not always. Dogs can be a deterrent, but if you come to the front door and I knock on your front door, and just for personal knowledge, people that have these beautiful see-through front doors that I can see all the way through their house, that I can see from the front of their house to the back of their house, I can look from side to side into their home. If their dog's barking or whatnot, and their dog's running around, no matter what size the dog is going to understand that it's not the alpha male of the house. So it's going to run and try and find somebody if somebody's there. So sometimes a dog can be a telltale sign to me. Sometimes a dog will run over to a room and look and run back, and I'll know that person's not answering the door, but they're home. Because the dog's not going to do that under normal circumstances, unless it's a really, really big dog that's really, really aggressive. My MO was I would disconnect the alarm system. Sometimes there would be a dog, and sometimes I would go up to the window and put my hand out just to see what the dog would do. If it's an extremely small dog, that's not a deterrent, period. But a large dog that's real aggressive, it's going to make me think. Do I really want to wrestle with this dog and have to spray him and still risk being bitten by a sprayed dog who's really mad at me by driving down the alley and looking? That's a big thing. From my perspective, I'm a personal trainer. That's what I did besides crime. I jog a lot. So it would be nothing for me to go through the neighborhood and not be noticed. I mean, I have tattoos, but I wear long sleeve shirts that wick moisture, so you really can't see my tattoos. If you stop me, my vernacular is not that of the common criminal. So with that said, I would case neighborhoods on foot by jogging or walking, and look at homes. And the homes that I'm looking for specifically have mail, specifically have newspapers. They're unkept to a specific level depending on the neighborhood. The front of the house, I'm looking for alarm systems that I know I can defeat. that aren't wireless. If they're wireless, I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm not going to waste my time because there's going to be a response extremely quick. And I was parking my vehicle a mile away, and I can't run a mile in 4 minutes like some people can. So I would be on the officer's radar, you know, jogging away from the home with valuables. But the front of the house versus the back of the house, the front of the house, I'm looking for visual pathways. What I mean by that is being able to see through the front windows into the home, or from the street at that, or from the sidewalk rather. And if I notice that there's not very many lights on in the home, or any lights on in the home, I'm going to walk up to the front door and knock on the front door versus ringing the doorbell. Now I'm going to knock and knock and knock until it's just pestering to make sure nobody's there. But in the process of doing that, I'm looking through the glass windows and those really beautiful doors that I mentioned earlier. And I'm paying attention to reflections and shadows inside the home. You can't do that when there's lights on in the home. I mean, I know that neighborhood watch tell people you need to keep a light on your home when you're not there, and that's true because it's a deterrent. But don't put the light on in the front room right by the window. Put the light on in the center of your home where it's not easily seen, because a person may be occupied with the internet or television or movie or headphones. And if I can't see shadows coming from that light, it makes me weary. And I don't do nighttime burglaries. I do daytime burglaries. But you can still see into a person's home and see light. And it makes me as a burglar weary to go into that home. So that's a really good deterrent. But just not in the front. Because if you're in the front and I can look and see your light source, and I can look at the light and knock on your door, and nobody comes, and I know they just turn the light on because they're not home. Right. So that you know the people around you, so that your children are protected. Because I'm just a burglar. Think how many pedophiles do what I do. Think about that. And right now, where I'm incarcerated at, there's a lot of pedophiles. And I listen to what they say. And yeah, I was in this neighborhood over here walking around. I was at the park over here. So it may not just be that guy, white guy, that's properly spoken, that's jogging. It looks like he's really jogging. He may not just be a burglar. He may be a murderer, a rapist, a pedophile. People need to know that it's okay to call the police on somebody they don't know that's in their neighborhood, because I was in a lot of neighborhoods and had no business being there. Yes, sir. There is, and for particular reasons. Homes these days have those large double-paned windows that are not shatter windows, the ones that have safety glass in them, and they're very loud. And if you break a pane of it, it's loud, extremely loud. So I would choose doors that have safety glass and use a center punch to knock out the glass in the window. So I'd enter that way because it's a lot quieter. And essentially just pull my hoodie up and step through. And that would take out a lot of the noise.
You just basically use your body to go through, and it doesn't make enough noise to
draw attention.
Yeah,
right, it doesn't make enough noise. But there's also other ways. You have those marbled windows for bathrooms that are thin. I'm 5'10", I weigh 215 pounds right now. You wouldn't think that I'd be able to get through there, but I can. The same theory applies with the glass. It doesn't make much noise because it's marbled. Push it in. I could grab the molding from the outside of the window, and I'm physically strong enough to pull the molding out, step up, push my breath out of my chest to where I have no inhalation of air, and squeeze, wiggle through, catch my breath on that side, and finish pulling myself through. Right? Yes, you can. Doggy doors at the back of the home. I went into a home that had a very large dog, and it was a large enough doggy door for me to squeeze through. And I went right in there. The alarm system was on and was armed. And I walked right up to the front door and looked at it and said, well, the alarm system's on. I've got to go back out through that doggy door. So the doggy door gave me instant access to the valuables. Also, you have those sliding windows that are up higher. And lots of people think, well, nobody can get up there, and it's too small of a space. But a person that's athletic can get up there. and take the window frame out without a problem and go right through the window without a problem, without very much noise at all. From the back part of the house perspective, you have some people that have those large oval windows that are over their bathtubs that are stained glass. They look like stained glass, but they're not stained glass. They shatter, and they're kind of stringy when they do. It's kind of like they've got some material in it for safety reasons to keep it from shattering and falling in. Those windows right there are hard to protect except for the glass sensor. There's been homes that I knew that there's a glass sensor in, and I would go ahead and take out their calling system, the wires for it, and go in and go ahead and do it anyway. So the cellular is very important, but also glass sensor is important. The glass sensor for most people, even if they do cut the wires, it makes a lot of noise. Alarm makes a lot of noise. People these days aren't willing to pay for outside horns for the alarms, and that is ridiculous. Because if I bust your back window and an alarm system goes off that's not just contained inside your home, where I know exactly where to go to unplug the alarm system to cut off the alarm, then, I mean, there's huge horns outside, sound like D-Day. I'm running. There's no defeating them. By the time that you can cut the wires outside, when you go into the home, even if they didn't have the glass breaking feature on their home, when you do go into the home, if there's motion detectors in the home that you weren't aware of, and it goes off, well, you're thinking, well, okay, I cut the wires. So in a short time later, you'll find out differently because the officers will show up, right? So it'll save your property, to say the least. But a person who puts that sign in their yard and at the back of their home, and it's very important to put signs in the back of their home, because some burglars don't even case the front of a home. Some burglars just jump in backyards and look in windows. And if you put that cellular wireless feature there, the sign, like I saw some name brand signs that now say wireless on them that didn't used to, just so people know, right, that there's a cellular system there. And it's a major deterrent, because there's no point in going there. The officers are going to be there in such a short period of time. Even if you were capable of burglarizing that home within 90 seconds, which it's not, unless you're knocking the door down, running in there, grabbing a jewelry box and running out. And most burglars aren't doing that. You would have to have prior knowledge of what's in the home to do something like that.
Well, then,
I want to check the master bedroom, because I'll do it very fast. I know what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a bunch of electronics and stuff, so I would go straight to the jewelry. I would go straight to the women's boudoir, looking specifically for their jewelry. Men don't really wear a lot of jewelry, women do. So I would go to their items first. On the way out, I might check the men's to see if he has watches or whatever. Go into the master bedroom closets, because sometimes there's stand-up racks of jewelry racks in there. Also, I'm looking in the men's side of the closet for a safe, and I know that from experience, so I'd go in and look for a safe. Go from there. At that time, I've probably been in the house 3 minutes, and I'd walk around and look for an office, because some people keep credit cards. Can't use a credit card to go make cash advances or anything, but I can go to Walmart and use a credit card and spend $600 or $700 and buy 2 or 3 televisions or whatever. But I'll also say this: if I go into your home and you live in $1 million home, and I go in there and I look at your jewelry, and the only thing out are Kenneth Cole watches, I want to be suspicious, and that's going to make me look. Right.
So you're going to start checking other places.
Yeah, I'm going to look in the refrigerator. I'm going to pull all the stuff out of the refrigerator. I'm going to check the Barbasol cans, those screw-down cans, all the different things like that. If a person's trying to hide their jewelry away from some place, a person that they're thinking they're going to get burglarized, put it in your garage and mix it in with your toolbox, or in your ceiling. I mean, there's different ways to do it in your garage. Go put it in the attic. If you're just storing it away, or if it's like your grandmother's, it's a hereditary jewelry, whatever, go put it away. You don't need to see it every day. Sure.
See if there's a response, in other words.
Sure. Not necessarily a window, but there are alarm systems that I wasn't sure whether or not they were cellular. And I would cut the wires from that alarm system and then go about my business of entering the home or setting up to enter the home by dropping a window or the back glass. And then the alarm would go off. I was prepared for it to go off. Would step in, go into the home, physically actually go into the home, find where the alarm's at. Not the box on the wall, but the actual clarion or whatever. It makes a clarion call. Beep, 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 beep. The beeper, right? It's loud. And jump up and knock it off the wall. And then run out the house and then jog to wherever I'm going. And drive back by later, maybe 15 minutes later. Because if a call's been made about the home, when I drive by, the officer will still be there, right? Because they're going to call, get the alarm system people there. They're going to do everything, right?
Sure. Particularly if they see any type of forced entry or attempted forced entry.
Right.
If you were going to imagine yourself standing tonight, let's say you were going to speak to a citizen group, a neighborhood watch group, and there's 100 people there, and somebody would say to you, is there anything we can do to our house so it's not an easy mark? How would you answer a question like that?
The easiest thing, keep your windows shuttered when you're not home. Make sure that there's no line of sight to your alarm system from the back door. Sometimes I would go up and look into a home and I would look beside the door and I would see that, hey, the alarm system's not here. I know they have an alarm system. So I would go to the backyard and use my telephone and pull up, pick my camera and focus it in where I know the alarm system's got to be, and sit there and move my fingers out, which will enlarge the picture, and sit there and look at it and look at the colors. So putting your box where it can't be readily seen when you arm your alarm is going to deter some people. Doing the shutters is going to deter some people. Doing the lighting in your home is going to deter some people. The box that I'm talking about, the timer box that you can buy, or just a timer, electronic timer to turn electricity on and off, switch throughout your house, is really going to deter people. Putting a sticker at your front door that says that our alarms, my morals are really low because of drug use. But when I came out of the stupor that drugs had me in, and I realized the things that I had done, no matter what the reasons were, I felt a lot of guilt. I felt ashamed. So thank you for giving me this chance to enlighten the public a little bit and enlighten my load a little bit with God, the guilt that I have.
And I appreciate you sharing with us.
Back now at 7:44 this morning on Rosslyn reports startling claims that the most. Back now at 7:44 this morning on Rosslyn reports startling claims that the most popular kind of smoke detector may not protect your family in a fire. Today, national investigative correspondent Jeff Rosslyn is here with the details. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. This really does affect all of us. And look, we've all been there. You burn toast in your house and suddenly your smoke alarm goes off. So you assume it's ultra sensitive, but experts say, think again. Turns out smoke from burning food is much different than smoke from burning furniture. In fact, we found in a real fire, your smoke detector may not go off in time to save your family.
911. I have a fire in my home. I've got a baby I better call with.
A desperate mother waking up to a house full of smoke, trying to save her kids.
As I'm trying to get upstairs, my first thought is the 4 people that I have upstairs. Trying to make sure that they're not scared to death, that they're safe, and that they're okay.
I have 4 children dead in the house. It's burning is incinerated.
The kids didn't make it. Cause of death, smoke inhalation. So why didn't they have more warning? After all, Amanda Deputy says the house had working smoke detectors.
We put fresh batteries in the smoke detectors. We pushed the test button, so I knew they worked. And then when it was time, they never went off.
Amanda says she had the most common type of smoke detector, used in 90% of homes. Inexpensive, easy to find alarms that rely on ionization technology. They work well to detect fires with fast flames. But experts say some of the most deadly fires are the smoldering, smoky kind that can fill your home with toxic gases while you sleep. Experts say in those fires, ionization alarms don't work well, going off way too late or not at all.
And that means that the individuals could have a fire in their home and never receive a warning.
Don Russell is a scientist at Texas A&M. He's run hundreds of tests. When I go to the store to buy a smoke detector, I assume that it's going to sound when there's smoke.
That's a reasonable assumption, but it's wrong.
His findings are a bombshell in the industry that the most popular smoke detectors may not help you in a fire. You're about to see just how scary that can be. We had Dr. Russell set up a test at the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service. First, Dr. Russell placed 3 ionization detectors, the kind most of us have, in a room with a couch. Next, firefighters set a slow, smoky fire using a soldering iron. We're watching on monitors outside. Firefighters say every minute counts to get your family out. But watch, the room is filling up with smoke, and the smoke detectors still haven't gone off. It's been 30 minutes.
The smoke is all the way to where the smoke detectors are, and we still don't have any alert from the smoke detectors.
Finally, at 36 minutes.
We do have a smoke detector going off.
Minutes later, the other 2 go off, just as the couch is about to erupt in flames.
It's way too late. It's too dangerous. You couldn't get out of that room reliably.
Remember, this is the type of smoke detector most of us have. But there's another technology out there that experts say gives you better warning in these fires. It's called a photoelectric detector, and even government tests show it goes off much sooner in smoky fires. Watch what happens when Dr. Russell sets up another test, this time with a photoelectric next to those 3 ionization detectors. 17 minutes in, with barely any smoke in the room, the photoelectric sounds the alarm.
Photoelectric is telling us, you've got a fire, get up, solve the problem, get out of the house.
Meanwhile, toxic smoke is overtaking the room. In fact, it takes another 21 minutes before any ionization detectors go off. These seasoned firefighters are shocked.
All I could think about was my own family. And if I would have relied on ionization, then my family probably wouldn't make it out. But with the photoelectric, they would have had plenty of time to get out.